RA as that pitch is lined out to right. Trey Walker lined out to right. Trey Walker brings it in for the second out. Back at Rick Wood Field, bottom of the first, Golden Bears coming to the plate. Go through the lineup here for Miles. Here's Trey Spann, leads off hitting .242. He's driven in 3. Shows bunt, first pitch down and away for a ball. It's going to be Spann in left, Michael Smith in center, Elijah Anderson at first, Caleb Raston at third, Trey Walker in right, Greg Willis doing the pitching, Johnny Lyons at shortstop, Bobo Barnes is catching, and Garrett Whitehead is at second base. That pitch is inside, 2-0. Let's go through the lineup quickly for Edward Waters, Daniel Donaldson Fountain leading off in center, Dannon Smith at short, Luis Rodriguez at first, Angelo Prieto is in right field, Calvin Scott is the designated hitter, Andres Caracciolo will hit 6th and play third base. Luis Nunez, the second baseman, batting 7th. Joseph DCRA is doing the catching. Jordan Smith is playing in left field, and on the mound for Edward Waters, Tyler Pifferman. He misses there, and the count runs now to 3-1. Swing and a miss there by Spann. Runs the count full. Early clouds have cleared mostly. Sun starting to break out here at Rickwood. Pifferman 3-2. Did he swing? No, and it's going to be ball 4, and Trey Spann is on with a leadoff walk. Bring up Michael Smith. Done a very good job out in the outfield. He's played all 3 outfield positions this season for the Golden Bears. First pitch in for a strike. Smith hitting .275. He's driven in 16, on base percentage at .405 coming into today. Keep an eye on Trey Spann over at first base. Pifferman does the same as he throws over. Spann 8 of 10 in stolen base opportunities thus far this season. Another toss over. And Miles has lost 7 straight. Last time Miles was here, they took 2 of 3 from Spring Hill. All looked well. The Golden Bears were 17-6 in second place in the conference, and then things went bad. A little squibber right up the first baseline. Good play there by Saciari. He's going to throw Smith out. Spann is going to advance to second. Bring up Elijah Anderson with Willis on the bump. Anderson gets to come in and play first base. Has just 17 at-bats this season, but hitting .294. Lefty swinger. Miles doesn't have a lot of that in its lineup. Anderson looking to provide it here this afternoon. Swing and a miss. Pifferman comes in 6-1, 4.10 ERA. One of the top pitchers here in the SIAC. That ball fouled off, and quickly Anderson in an 0-2 hole. game started just a bit late, had a bit of a malfunction in the sprinkler system. Hasn't been any real rain here in a while. Swing and a miss, and Anderson is down on strikes. Bring up Caleb Raston. He has really gotten some playing time over the last 3 or 4 weeks and has taken advantage. Hitting .364. Slugging at .935 from the cleanup spot. Pifferman, I don't think he really wanted to throw that ball, but decided I better let it go anyway. Raston looking to get Miles on the board here with a hit. Home plate. Span gets back in there. And Raston ahead early, 1-0. Pitches upstairs. Trey Walker in the on-deck circle. If Raston can extend this inning, should get something he can handle here. Ahead 3-1 in the count. Gets a fastball. Fastball had a little giddy up on. Throws him another one right to first base, and that's going to end the inning for the Golden Bears. Leadoff walk stranded at second. We played one, no score here from Rickwood Field. Back here at Rickwood Field, no score as we start the top of the second and off for Edward Waters. Swings at a fastball a little over his head. Caleb Raston over in foul territory, and he may bring up Calvin Scott. Scott's hitting .310 with a homer and 23 driven in. Again, we started a little late. Sprinklers went off. Again, have not had a lot of discernible rain as Scott hits that foul. Good breaking pitch there from Willis for strike two. That ball laced the opposite way, and Spann has to look at it on a bounce. First hit of the ball game for either side. Miles will do what it can to try to limit that. Although teams have had their way with the Miles pitching staff over the last week. Caraciola. Hitting 287. That pitch is fouled off. Willis has done a good job staying ahead here. Breaking pitch upstairs. Another one shot off to the opposite field. This one goes foul. Looks like here in the early going, the Edward Waters hitters being fooled just a little bit. Have been behind on pretty much everything, trying to make adjustments late. As we saw with Scott in the last at bat. He was able to get a solid single to left. Fastball down. The 2-2. That curveball way over the head of Caracciolo. See what Scott's looking at here. 4 for 4 in stolen bases does not go and does not matter as Caracciolo strikes out for the second out of the inning. Bring up Luis Nunez. Hitting 309, a homer, driven in 29. No score, top of the second. Fastball in for a strike. Joseph DeCesare comes to the plate. 2 out, chance to put Edward Waters on top. Singles for Edward Waters. That pitch is going to get away. We've seen a couple of the breaking pitches from Willis. Doesn't seem like he has a good grip on him because one of them he lost way high and up and over the head of the batter. That one kind of held on to a little too long. Another fan makes the catch to retire the side. 2 singles for Edward Waters, but they leave both of them on base. and Miles in the opening game of this 3-game series. Trey Walker will lead off for Miles. Pifferman threw 17 pitches in the opening inning, 10 for strikes. But misses upstairs there, 1-1. Walker fouls that off into an 0-2 hole. That one fouled off as well. Last game for Edward Waters, they played on the road on Tuesday. Lost a 7-3 decision to Thomas University, but was able to sweep at home against Tuskegee last weekend. Walker's going to make Pifferman work. He's fouled 3 of them off to the right. Walker, Willis, and Lyons are due up here in the bottom of the second for the Golden Bears. Way to hang in there by Walker on that breaking ball. Cloud cover, keeping the temperatures down just a bit, but I'm imagine it's going to warm up a little more. Already low 80s. Blown by Walker for the strikeout, first out here in the inning. Second strikeout for Pifferman. Going to bring up Willis while he's doing the work on the mound. He has arguably been the top hitter for the Golden Bears, hitting .299. He's driven in 23. Trying to unleash that fastball, and Willis has laid off of it thus far. 2-0 your count. Miles trying to get off the schneid. Last 2 weeks have not been very kind to this Golden Bears ball club. Willis scoop fired, and Willis is retired by Cariciolo. And there's quickly 2 down here for Miles. I'll bring up Johnny Lyons, and when I said arguably the top hitter, this is the guy who's going to bring up the argument. Lyons hitting .316. Driven in 16 runs. Getting on base at a .486 clip. Got that OPS up at .854. quickly in a whole 0-2. Line's ready to look at the 0-2. Breaking pitch in the dirt. Top of the third inning here from Birmingham, Alabama. Miles and Edward Waters tied it. These pitchers done a good job limiting base runners. To lead off, he's hitting .373 from the 9-hole. 2 homers, is driven in 17, slugging .533. Breaking pitch in for a strike. Evens the count. I think Willis doing here early and doing it well is limiting the number of pitches he throws. Hopefully will allow him. Fastball upstairs, blows it by Smith for the first out. Strikeout. Donaldson Fountain flies out to center for out number 2. He's now 0 for 2. Will bring up Dannon Smith. First pitch in for a strike. Again, doing a good job. Getting Getting those first pitch strikes in, pitching ahead. That pitch on the outside edge for strike 2. That ball laced out in the center field for Edward Waters. For 1 flied out in the first. Toss over to first. Smith back in. That pitch misses for ball 1. Dannon Smith, 28 of 34 in stolen base attempts. And Greg Willis is keeping his eye on him over at first base. That fastball is low. Into the whole lines, gets it. He's going to try to make the throw over to first. Throw pulled Anderson off, who tried to get the sweep tag. It's going to be an infield hit for Rodriguez. Angelo Prieto. He's 0 for 1. Fastball upstairs. Runners on first and second. 2 outs. Fastball driven out to left but foul. Prieto has 4 long balls, slugging .520. That pitch breaks down and away for ball 2. Just try to slow this Edward Waters team down. The number 2 hitting team in the conference comes in hitting .324, slugging .502. Slugging percentage 3rd, the batting average 2nd. And they like to steal a lot of bags, lead the conference with 115 stolen bases. That ball lifted out to right. Walker gets it, brings it in, and that's going to be the end of the inning for the Tigers. 2 hits, 2 more runners left on base for Edward Waters. We go to the bottom of the 3rd. There's no score here from historic Rickwood Field. Back on the Golden Bears Sports Network, A.A. Moore here with you. No score as we go to the bottom of the third. Bobo Barnes will lead it off, hitting .327. He's driven in 6. In on his hands, fouled behind the plate, but that's going to be a quick and easy out as Dise Sare makes the quick grab. Head comes to the plate. Just at .257, he's driven in 7. You've always seen when he is right, he's does a good job of squaring pitches up and making good contact. That's a grounder to short, and Whitehead is quickly retired for out number 2. Bring up Trace Spann. Thus far, he's been the only base runner for the Golden Bears. Had a leadoff walk in the first, left stranded at second. Pifferman has retired the last 8 since then. Spann shows bunt. Pitch misses for a ball. Shows bunt again. This time he offers and misses. That ball is hit through the hole and into left field. First base hit for the Golden Bears. Trace Spann gets on base for the second time this afternoon. Bring up Michael Smith. Smith grounded out, dribbled right in front of the plate, allowed Spann to advance to second. That first pitch misses for a ball. Edward Waters right now sitting in third place. They're pretty comfortably in the 18 tournament that'll take place in the first week of May. Miles, by virtue of its 6-game losing streak in conference play, has fallen all the way to 7th. And you would think the Golden Bears are going to be safe, but they're going to have to do some work to be able to secure their spot in that tournament, especially with some of the teams right behind them, including Kentucky State, which took 2 of 3 from Miles last month. Morehouse with the sweep is actually directly in front of the Golden Bears now. As you look at the schedule for the Golden Bears moving forward, again, you've got these games here against Edward Waters, trying to get some victories there. Smith, slow grounder to third. Fires over to first, and that'll retire Top of the fourth inning. Calvin Scott will lead it off for Edward Waters. He's 1 for 1. Had an opposite field single in the second. Looking to get something started here for the Tigers. Breaking pitch misses from Greg Willis for ball 1. Willis had thrown 46 pitches through the first 3 frames. Had to pitch out of trouble the last couple of innings. Still zeros on the scoreboard, but he misses there for 2-0. Fastball on the outer edge. Squibber gonna roll foul to even the count. First of 2 here this afternoon. This will be the 9-inning game. Have about a 30-minute intermission between games, and these 2 teams will play a 7-inning contest before finishing the series tomorrow at 11 a.m. in another 9-inning affair. Breaking ball in on the hands, fouled back by Scott. Here's the 2-2 from Willis. Breaking ball upstairs. Bring up Caraciola. He struck out in the second. Shows bunt, pulls it back. That'll be ball 1. And the number 2 hitting team in the SIAC, Edward Waters, thus far being held at bay as Greg Willis does a good job, or has done a good job here through the first 3+ innings. Quick throw over the first, runner back. Willis gets it. No one's covering second, so Willis. There's a chance for a double play there. Willis looked over at second. He does get the sure out. Breaking pitch in for a strike. Instead, they've switched spots, at least for this game. And falls behind 1-2. We look at Miles' schedule coming down the stretch. It's not going to be easy. That's why you got to rack up these wins when you can get them. You've got the 3 here against Edward Waters. Next week it's 3 against Tuskegee. Another opposite field shot, but this time it's brought in by Trace Spann for the second out. Nunez tried to flick that one out to left again. And in fact, that's going to be a double play. That'll be the end of the inning. I turned my head, and what do you know? Everybody's running off. We'll run off with them. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Excuse me, the bottom of the 4th. No score here from Rickwood Field. Back here, Rickwood Field on the Golden Bears Sports Network. No score as we go to the bottom of the fourth inning, and I tried not to get us here to the bottom of the fourth. You know, sometimes you see a lot of things happen in baseball games. That's why you always have to stay alert. Saw the catch by Span, and I put my head down real quick. By the time I looked up, everybody's running off. I'm like, what happened? But Scott got a little too far off of second base and was doubled off, and that's how the top of the fourth ended. And it's going to bring up Elijah Anderson. Anderson, as he takes ball one, struck out swinging in the first. This time, off the first baseman's glove. Let's see if they're going to be able to make the play. No. That's going to be an error by Rodriguez. Anderson hit that pretty solidly. Still a play that Rodriguez probably should have made, and it's going to be a leadoff base runner for the Golden Bears. Let's see if Miles is going to be able to take advantage of here. Caleb Braston will come up. He's 0 for 1. Anderson, modest lead off of first. Thought about it. Good stop there by D.C. Ciare. Another throw over. Trying to shorten that lead up from Anderson just a bit. Fastball down and in. Now Anderson gets an extra step. Still not much. Breaking pitch upstairs, and it's 3-1. Miles has not had multiple base runners on in any of the first 3 innings. In fact, the only base runner before Anderson was Trey Span. Walk in a single for today's starting left fielder. Here's the 3-1 fouled back. See if Coach Milton Barney tries anything to get the runner moving. He doesn't. Breaking ball flared out to right. It's going to get down for a base hit. Anderson going to take off for third. He's in. Little bobble out and right. Anderson to get the extra base, and now Miles has things cooking. Here in the third is the bobble out and right by Prieto. Has the Golden Bears in business. First and third, nobody out. Miles trying to get on the board. Walker shows bunt, fouls it back. Walker has 3 sacrifice bunts this year. Showing it again. Pulls it back. They're going to say that's low. Leave in the count. First scoring threat here for the Golden Bears this afternoon here in the bottom of the fourth. Nobody out, runners on the corners. Walker shows bunt again, pulls it back. Piffman now over 50 pitches here in the fourth. Miles dugout coming alive. That pitch misses. And now Walker is in a 3-1 count. And DeCesare goes out to talk with his hurler, whose defense has let him down here in the bottom of the fourth. That was a pretty good at-bat by Roston in the last at-bat. Fought some pitches off, got something he could at least get his bat on, and he was able to flare it out to right. Prieto gets over there. Anderson really didn't have any real ideas of going to third until he saw the bobble, and he says, I'm going to take off. Here's the 3-1. Shows bunt again. It's low, and now the bases are loaded. There's anybody in this lineup that the Golden Bears would want up in this situation, it's their pitcher slash DH, Greg Willis. Bases loaded, nobody out here in the bottom of the fourth. Error, single with another error and a walk have loaded the bases. Breaking ball in for a strike. Top two hitters, if you're the Golden Bears, coming to the plate. Chance to do damage and get on the board here against Edward Waters. That slider off the plate. Slider must have broke a good 6-7 inches there. The 1-1. Fastball away. Willis couldn't lay off. For some sort of contact here if you're Willis. He fouls it off to the right. Swing and a miss. Willis goes down on strikes for out number one. Big strikeout. For Pifferman, that's his fourth. One of his victims at the plate here in Lyons. And that pitch hits him. And that's going to be an RBI the hard way. For Johnny Lyons. And Miles is on the board. First pitch misses for a ball. Pifferman misses again. It's been a little more of his problem here in the fourth. It's just not been able to find the strike zone. Barnes just wanting to make some sort of contact, see if Golden Bears can get another run or two in here. The 2-2. Good breaking pitch for strike three. For out number two, will bring up Whitehead. Whitehead takes strike one. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball upstairs. Pifferman one strike away from getting out of this jam. Again, the bases were loaded. Nobody was out. Miles has only been able to get one across, and that was on a hit by pitch. Pitch in the dirt. DC Sarre was able to another pitch off the plate, ball two. Pitch just upstairs, good eye by Whitehead. The runners will be moving. Lines with good speed at first, a chance to get all three of them in with any kind of contact. Down the line, foul, and we'll do it again. Another 3-2 coming from Pifferman. This time, Rodriguez fumbles it, but he was able to make the play. One run, one hit, two Edward Waters errors, but three runners left on base for the Golden Bears. We've played four complete. Miles on top, 1-0. We'll be back. Top of the fifth here at historic Rickwood Field. You're watching Edward Waters and Miles on the Golden Bear Sports Network. A.A. Moore here with you. Action Unlimited Productions. D. Jackson bring you the sights and sounds. Miles gets one in the fourth. Willis back on the bump for the Golden Bears. That first pitch misses for a ball. Willis has limited the damage. Has thrown only 60 pitches, although that's ball two. Has allowed just 4 singles through 4. Pitch lifted out towards right. Trey Walker tracks it, brings it in. That's out number 1. That'll bring up Jordan Smith. Smith struck out his last time up. That pitch misses for ball 1. Willis has thrown now 64 pitches, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. Going to be Smith, in fact Jordan Smith, followed by Donaldson, Fountain, and then Dannon Smith. With the way this team hits, I imagine 1 run is not going to be enough here for Miles this afternoon, so the offense is going to have to do a little more work, but Greg Willis doing a good job here through 4 1/3. Fastball up and away. Breaking pitch misses to run the count full. Has been able to get by. A little inconsistency with the breaking ball, but he's been able to dot the zone with the fastball. That breaking ball misses, and another leadoff runner is aboard for the 2nd straight inning. Jordan Smith does not run near as much as everyone else, but he is 12 of 15 in stolen base attempts. Daniel Donaldson Fountain, he's 0 for 2, but he came in again hitting .440. Back. Up to short in the first, flied out to center in the 3rd. Interesting with Greg Willis. Fastball misses away for ball 2. He has not gone more than 3 2/3. Last pitched on Tuesday against Stillman. That fastball upstairs for ball 3. That's going to get through a little squibber. Out out to short left. Raston could not get over to it, and now the first two runners are on, and no one is out for Edward Waters. Dannon Smith 1 for 2. Before he gets to hit, Willis is going to get a visit from Milton Barney. Again, 3 2/3 is the most that Willis has gone in any of his 4 outings. So as he pitches into the 5th inning here, he has already set a season high. And Dannon Smith 1 for 2. Fastball in for a strike. Inning reliever is at Barney's disposal. Breaking pitch misses for ball 2. Johnson pitched on Sunday against Savannah State. That fast. Peter has lost a little juice here in the 5th. Breaking pitch misses by a bunch, and that's going to load the bases. First pitch in for a strike. Bullpen up and working for the Golden Bears. Right to third, second for 1, fires the first, double play. Great job there by Willis to get out of the jam. 5-4-3 around the horn, and that's going to end the top of the 5th. No runs, 1 hit, 2 runners left on base. We're halfway home. Miles on top. 1-0 here on the Golden Bears Sports Network. Back here, Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Alabama. Miles, second straight inning, Miles gets a double play to get out of trouble. This time they go around the horn from Raston to Whitehead to Anderson. Pifferman did a good job getting out of trouble. Had loaded the bases with nobody out in the fourth. Allowed just one run, and that was Spann to short. Scoop, fired by Smith, and Spann is retired for the first time today. Bring up Michael Smith. Smith 0 for 2. Pifferman now at 76 pitches with one out in the fifth. Wind really starting to kick up here. Flag blowing in from center. That ball hit out to right center, towards the wall. It's up, and it's off the wall. It's going to be a double to center for Michael Smith, who cared very little about that win as he went the opposite way for one out double. Got on top of that fastball and drove it to right center. Sixth double of the season for Smith. Just the third hit for Miles here this afternoon. The 1-0 to Anderson. He lines it right, and that's going to be a double play. Anderson hit it right on the screws, but right to Dannon Smith, who's going to get the unassisted double play. And that will end the bottom of the fifth. One hit, no one left. We played 5 full here from historic Rickwood Field. Miles leads Edward Waters 1-0. Again, Action Unlimited bringing the sights and sounds here from Rickwood Field, and you probably can hear that ice cold chest full of beverages. It's a little warm out here. Right now it's Miles that's on the hot side of this ball game. They lead 1-0. Golden Bears do here as we start the top of the sixth. Greg Willis misses upstairs with the breaking ball. That's pitch number 83 for the right-hander. And Miles does have some activity in the bullpen. That ball roped out to left, but Trey Spann jumps up and pulls it in for out number 1. And took a route that may have fooled him just a little bit, but that athleticism, you watch him leap up and make that grab. Gets out number 1 for Willis. It's Brian Wills who was warm up in the bullpen as that pitch is in for strike 1. In uncharted territory here for Greg Willis. Just his 5th appearance. That ball lifted out to left, slicing away from Spann. It falls in fair, right along the left field line. Another opposite field hit for Calvin Scott. He seems to have it laser ready, just dropping them where they're not, going the other way, and has his 2nd hit of the ball game. Cariciolo, the runner in scoring position. First pitch in for a strike. Will this try to get through 6? Breaking pitch upstairs. Fastball on the outer edge for strike 2. That pitch fouled off. The 1-2 from Willis. Willis gets it, looks Scott back in the second and throws to first for the 2nd out. Calvin Scott thought about trying to take off to third, but Willis gave him the look. He scrambles back. And that's going to bring up Nunez. Nunez is 1 for 2, but he has gone the opposite way both times. First pitch out of the zone for ball 1. You're Willis, you want to work around this man a little bit. Down and in for ball 3. DC Sare is on deck. And 4 pitches out of the zone, and Nunez is on. And that was pretty much an intentional pass. Hernandez, a 300 hitter, coming into today, and then the catcher DeCesare is a 200 hitter. I imagine this is who you want to take your chances with. First pitch in for a strike. Fourth time this game Edward Waters has had 2 runners on. Willis 1 strike away from getting out of another jam. Fastball upstairs. Willis has pretty much scattered 6 hits to this point, 5 singles, 1. Nothing hit particularly hard. Count even with 2 outs. First and second for Edward Waters. This is pitch number 100 for Greg Willis. Breaking pitch in. No, they say it's upstairs, and that's going to run the count full. Runners will be on the move. Fastball misses. Gets ahead 0-2. And now the bases are loaded. I'm not sure that Coach Barney is going to let Willis face Jordan Smith. And in fact, he does make the call to the bullpen. Willis did a fine job here. 101 pitches in 5 2/3. He's going to be responsible for all the runners on base. Miles is going to make a pitching change. We'll take a break with the Golden Bears. We'll see the new pitcher when we come back. 1-0 your score here in the top of the 6th. Back here at historic Rickwood. Good slider. The question is, can he find the zone? Last pitched on Sunday against Savannah, not as good. 1 inning pitch, 2 hits, 4 walks, gave up 5 against Morehouse. Last pitched here at home on the 15th. Barney went as long as he could with his starter, Greg Willis. That breaking pitch is generally to get. It's on line, but it's late. 2-run single by Jordan Smith. Smith sat on the fastball, and both runners will advance. Fastball in on the hands of Donaldson Fountain, fouled off. That one hit Donaldson Fountain, which is a good thing because that would have allowed a runner to score. Instead, it'll be a hit by pitch, and it'll reload the bases. Gets away, and that's going to be a hit by pitch. It's going to be another run for Spring Hill as Wills losing the strike zone here a little bit. 2 consecutive in the SIAC this season. That pitch misses. That ball hit out to right, but right to Trey Walker. And that will retire the side. 3 runs for Edward Waters here in the top of the 6th. They lead Miles 3-1. We'll be back. Bottom of the 6th, 3-1. Edward Waters on top. Caleb Braston will lead it off here against Tyler Pifferman. First pitch in for a strike. Greg Willis did a good job. Finally ran out of gas with 2 outs in the 6th. That breaking pitch upstairs. Get another rally started, had the bases loaded and nobody out, only able to push in 1. Count is now 1-2. Braston, Walker, Willis all due up here in the 6th. Fastball in for strike 3. That'll be the first out. Bring up Trey Walker. Just that chance. Just that chance when they had the bases loaded and only got one. Obviously, this is not an insurmountable lead under any circumstance. Fastball to get Walker, went fastball to get Raston looking, and then he went breaking ball to get Walker looking. Willis looking to start a rally here in the 6th. Little squibber. This may be the rally starter. Throw over to first, not in time. It's going to be an infield single for Greg Willis. Willis didn't get a lot of it, but he got enough of it. At about 40 feet. But is able to get an infield single, and it'll bring up Lyons. He's got the only RBI thus far. He was hit by a pitch with the bases loaded. That gave Miles the lead in the 4th. Hit there. But it's now 0-2. Ball into the hole at short, rolled up the arm. Dannon Smith. That was going to be a tough play either way. We'll look to see what the official scoring is on that. Wait a minute, I'm the one who makes that decision. We're going to give him an infield single for that. There have been people who said I've had a rather large cranium and have to put a lot of hats on. That could be work related. In some cases, that's just what I need to keep the sun out. Pinch hitter up here for the Golden Bears, Zachary LeCastro. Breaking pitch down and away, ball 1. That breaking ball is in for a strike. Castro, another chopper, but this time Dannon Smith goes the short way to Nunez, and that will retire the side. Golden Bears get two out hits, but unable to get anything across. We played 6. Edward Waters on top of Miles, 3-1. 7th inning we go. New catcher Antoine Jackson. In for Miles, it's going to be Angelo Prieto in for his 2nd inning of work. Sometimes you want to give a little grace to the freshman. Throwing him into the fire, he came in bases loaded. 2 outs. Got ahead of the first couple of hitters, just was not able to finish them off. And, that can happen with anybody. Certainly not a surprise that it happens with a freshman, but Coach Barnett keeps going with him. I'm sure with the understanding that this is not just for now, it's for later. The 1-2 over to Whitehead at second. He goes to Anderson at first for the first down. We'll bring up Calvin Scott. He's probably caused more trouble than anybody else in this lineup today. 2 for 2. Couple of opposite field hits. He scored the tying run last inning after a 1-out double. This kind of maybe held on to that pitch a little too long. Spikes it right in the dirt. Off the glove of Willis. Whitehead recovers and makes the play for the 2nd out. 1-4-3 if you're scoring from home, or if you're just watching. That's what the scoring is going to be on that. 2 up, 2 down here in the 7th. Bring up Carciolo. 0 for 3. The order due up for the Golden Bears in the 7th. Swing and a miss. See, that fastball can play. At this level, Wills has been able to get it past several of these Edward Water hitters. Just has to be a bit more consistent in the strike zone. Out pass to Carciolo. We'll bring up Luis Nunez. Runs in the 6th for Edward Waters is the difference in this game. Nunez again opposite field. Raston up against the netting, and he makes the play. He's been playing an exceptional third base here the last couple of weeks and makes another great play for the Golden Bears to end the inning. A 2-out pass is all Edward Waters gets. In the top of the seventh, it's stretch time. Tigers on top of the Golden Bears, 3-1. Here at historic Rickwood Field in Birmingham, Miles trails 3-1. Landon Whitehead in the 9 spot will lead off. Trey Spann, Michael Smith. 9-1-2 due up here for the Golden Bears. Whitehead jumps on the first pitch, skies it out. Just off the dirt. Brought in by Nunez for out number 1. Pifferman closing in on 100 pitches himself. He's got 96 here with 1 out in the 7th. Trey Spann swings first pitch. Smith gets it. Wow, the umpire got in the way, and Trey Spann is going to be out. It almost doesn't seem fair, as Trey Spann was trying to make his turn on the wild throw. Umpire, maybe he didn't hit the umpire. It looked like, though, as he was making his turn, he turned an ankle or a knee or something, and he's going to be out. It's going to be E6 on the throw, but otherwise able to get the out. It'll bring up Michael Smith. Smith doubled. Last time, and I was saying I was sure that Pifferman was going to get to 100 pitches this inning, but he's only thrown 3 to get the first 2 outs. But in fact, this is pitch number 100 for the big right-hander for Edward Waters. Breaking pitch foul to the right. Golden Bears have certainly had some opportunities, just have not been able to capitalize. That pitch misses on strikes. Pifferman gets his 8th strikeout here of the day. We go to Edward Waters 3, Miles 1. Ready to start at the top of the 8th. New pitcher in for the Golden Bears. It's Elijah Barney. Third pitcher of the afternoon for Miles. 0-1 with a 10.24 ERA. Breaking pitch, first pitch right down the third. Raston gets it across. Desiari. I keep trying to say his name correct. Desisari makes the first out. Pronunciation guides help you every time. Bring up Jordan Smith. Smith's 2-run single with 2 outs, 2 strikes. Gave Edward Waters the lead for the first time in the 6th. At least in this case. I imagine if your coach's name was Smith, it could be anybody. And you look at Edward Waters, they got 2 Smiths in the starting lineup. Ground ball to second. Whitehead hurries it over there for the second out. Think about last names. As Donaldson Fountain, I don't think he'd have any real issues when it comes to somebody claiming. Although with that hyphenated last name, you could have 2 people claiming. But I say all that to say Washington. That's the name. Like, everyone thinks that you hear Washington, you think about the founder, one of the founders of the country, George Washington. Yet you're more likely to find someone with the last name Washington at Miles or Edward Waters than maybe you would at University of Alabama. Right, and that's the thing. The hue of people whose last name is Washington, as that one is fouled back behind the plate. Jackson tosses his mask and pulls it in, and that will end the inning. Maybe I'm going too far with this Washington bit, but we'll get off the last names and get into the last half of the 8th inning when we come back. It's 3-1 Edward Waters on top. We'll be back. 7 innings pitched. Gave up 5 hits, 1 run. It was unearned. Walked 2, struck out 8. He hit a batter through 103 pitches. New pitcher in is Kaysen Sherling, making his team high 14th appearance for Edward Waters. 13 of them now out of the bullpen. That pitch is upstairs. Anderson to the plate for the Golden Bears. Sherling 2-1 with a 3.62 ERA. Walked 15 and struck out 25. And Anderson quick, and he'll be the first out here in the 8th. Done some fine defensive work over at third base. Lifts that one foul, and after a little chase, it goes out of play. For strike 1. Talked about all the runs that the Miles Golden Bears have given up over the last week. Just as much of a problem, though, if you look at it, is the offense just not being able to put the runs on the board, make things a lot easier for your pitching staff. That ball is stroked out to right center, and it's going to get down, and Roston is going to be on the run. And it's going to be a double to right center. Miles has shown some good opposite field pop here. And tying run comes to the plate, and Trey Walker. This 7-game malaise for the Golden Bears. They're averaging 2 runs a contest. A couple of shutouts mixed in. 5 of those runs actually came in one game. That just kind of shows you that this offense just has not been able to put it together of late. Walker, chopper, Nunez over to first for the second out. But Raston moves over to third base. Greg Willis. Chance to try to bring the goal. Wind starting to blow out to left. Maybe if he gets one up in the stream, have us a tie ball game here. 2 outs, runner on third. Count even, 1-1. Greg Willis. Elevated. Willis has had some big late inning hits. One for 3 here this afternoon. Had an infield single with 2 outs in the 6th. This time he skies that out to left, but right into the glove of Donaldson Fountain for the final out of the 8th. Golden Bears leave a runner stranded at third. We go to the 9th. Edward Waters 3, Miles 1. We'll be back. We've reached the 9th inning here at historic Rickwood Field. Edward Waters on top 3-1. New right fielder in for the Golden Bears, Miles Wessels. Dannon Smith. Smith 1 for 2. Single, walk, RBI hit by pitch in the 6th. That pitch just misses. And it'll bring up Rodriguez. Rodriguez played a pretty prominent role in this ball game, at least if you're a little bit in that 4th inning. Allowed Miles to get its run, which was unearned. On the move, throw down to second, not in time. Another stolen base. Stolen base number 29 for Dannon Smith. He was off and running again, but that pitch was fouled off. Had a big jump. Probably would have stolen that easily. Had a huge lead, and Barney didn't even look back. Rodriguez out deep to right. Wessels gets turned around, and he makes the catch. He nearly lost that. They're going to say Smith was able to tag up. There was a little question as to whether or not he may have left early. Angelo Prieto. Trying to add some insurance. He fouls the first pitch off. One out. Top of the 9th. Good job there by Jackson. Blocked that breaking pitch in the dirt. Golden Bears trying to keep it right here. Give themselves a chance in the bottom of the 9th. glove to find a strikeout. Barney throws it all the way back to the backstop. Absolutely no chance for Jackson to. Walks in, it's 4-1, Edward Waters. That was over everyone's head. The umpire didn't even have to. Whitehead started obviously on the right-hand side of the second base bat, and it's Whitehead who gets over and makes the play. This afternoon, manning the Keystone. Way the offense have struggled to score runs lately. 4 runs seems like a lot. But this was the score against Spring Hill. The 2-2 from Barney. That breaking pitch. Way outside. Trying to get out of the 8th here. Misses with the fastball, and it's going to be another time on base for Scott. He reached base 4 times here in game 1. Caraciola, he's 0 for 3. Got a walk and a strikeout. In the 9th. For the Golden Bears, it'll be Lyons, Jackson, and Whitehead all due up. Edward Waters already added to its lead. Dannon Smith scored on a wild pitch. That pitch lifted out to right center. Michael Smith unable to make the catch. It gets away from him. Whitehead puts it on third, but a little too late. It's going to be a 2-out triple for Caracciolo. And that ball was just pulling away. Wessels couldn't get to it. It was Smith who was able to get a glove on it, but not before it hits the ground, kicks away, turns into a triple. And another run for Edward Waters. Golden Bears have lost the opener in their last 3 series. Barney looked really solid in the 8th inning, but that leadoff walk got things going in the wrong direction. Had trouble finding the strike zone. It's up to 36 pitches, only 16 strikes. But Whitehead has that throw to retire the side. 2 more runs for Edward Waters on just 1 hit. 1 runner left. 3 outs remaining for the Golden Bears. They trail 5-1. We'll be back. Pinch hitter to start the 9th for the Golden Bears. Malachi Jeffries will lead off. That pitch misses away. Jeffries hitting just 194 on the season, has driven in 9. .37% on base percentage. Mostly afforded to 16 walks in 4 hit by pitches. Sherling trying to close this out for Edward Waters. Jeffries looking to get something started in pinch hitting for Lions. Here's the 3-2. Stays alive, fouling it off. Another 3-2 from Shirley. This time grounded to short. Smith fires over for out number 1. Another pinch hitter for Miles, Marquise Mitchell. Mitchell in limited plate appearances, hitting .375, 6 of 16. Normally brought in and serve as a pinch runner. 9 of 9 stolen base opportunities. Whitehead in the on-deck circle. In on his fists and fouled off. Swing and a miss. Fired down to first, and that's out number 2. Whitehead, the last hope for the Golden Bears. He's 0 for 3. Done well on the defensive side, but hasn't found that big hit here yet today. And he gets hit in the back with that pitch. I want to repeat what you just said, D. The big hit did find him. At least the big pitch, at least it wasn't a fastball in the back. I've taken some sort of offense at that point if it was to make that work for them. Span, first pitch, out to center, and that will be the ball game. Final score in game 1. Edward Waters takes down Miles 5-1. We'll wrap this game up here really quickly. For the Tigers, 5 runs, 8 hits, 3 errors. They left 11 runners on base. For the Golden Bears, 1 run, 6 hits, no errors. They left 9 runners on base. Winning pitcher for Edward Waters, Tyler Pifferman. He's now 7-1. Again, today he did very well on the hill. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 run. It was unearned, 2 walks, a hit batter, 8 strikeouts. Tough luck loser for the Gold. 2 third innings today. Gave up 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned, 5 walks, 2 strikeouts. The loss, he falls to 0-2. The game 2. We thank you for joining us here for game 1 of this SIAC series. Edward Waters takes down Miles 5-1. A more